Okay, so it's been have a bit of luck. The appointment has been cancelled, so um, thought I'd take this opportunity to continue and finish up the rest of the video. Okay, so we've got to the point of um, reading the outputs. So let's create a bridge now for the iPhone article. Okay, so the best apps for your iPhone. That's our heading. We want a bridge. So what we do is we take the heading and we pop it into the step 4a bridge content as well. Just to kind of mention, you saw how when I was trying to do that for the muscle tension one, because I put in two topics really, trying to reduce stress and muscle tension. Sorry, trying to how to relax and reduce muscle tension. So just two things. So the AI was struggling to give me that content in the tiny amount of space I wanted to give him, because I don't want it to give me too much text. I wanted to give me just a little bit of text to fit into the bridge. We don't want the bridge to make the introduction too long. So it struggled. So that's why it's important that when you're putting something into this to ask for the bridge, you make sure that you're not asking it to give you too many things at the same time. So this one, okay, best app for your iPhone as a title. So in other words, you may need to sort of refine your title a bit to make sure that it's asking for exactly what you need it to give you in the bridge. Okay. You know what? I just realized all this time that I may have been recording that a bit distorted, with my microphone facing somewhere else. Okay, so bear with me. Right. Okay, so but I hope you heard what I was explaining there. Okay, so we have put in the headline here now. And so what does it give? So I personally use apps almost every day. I personally use these apps almost every day, and they're some of the most highly regarded apps, both on both the Apple Store and the Google Play. Note, I do get a small commission if you end up buying one of these apps, but that's nothing to do with whether or not I recommend them. Now, this is what's important here. I have to just kind of explain this there. You see, when I trained this the AI to give me content for the bridge, I did not include anything that suggests that it should give me that I do get a small commission. But what the AI has done is, because now I'm talking about iPhone apps, most likely the people who talk about iPhone apps may ask a lot more, may inform their customers a lot that they do get some commission, right? And it's included it in the bridge, right? So what we could do then, we could use some of this here. Bridge. So we're coming from, they save your time, gets things done for you. For example, time is the most precious commodity you have, and without it, you are nothing. So how much time do you have, and what would you like to be able to do with that time? An iPhone app can help you totally destroy procrastination and 10x your productivity, giving you all the time in the world you need. Giving you all the time you need back to enjoy the rest of your life. Okay. So now most people may be asking, why do I need a bridge content here? But you see, I found that whenever I'm trying to get from the introduction into the body itself, it's sometimes very difficult to find something there that will pull and connect, make the conversation flow through. So this putting the bridge system helps you craft a lovely introduction helps you craft a lovely body, and it helps you come up with a lovely bridge. So you could go about maybe starting your article by just doing the body, and then you've done the introduction, and then all you just have to do is use the bridge to kind of connect both, right? So in this case, we've said this. After that, I personally use these apps almost every day. Let's bold that so we know that's this for the iPhone app. Okay. Let me see if I can get some bridges Y here. Maybe not. Actually, it can be hard to keep up with all the new apps that are being released. Some of them are great, but some are not. That's why I have put together a list of 50 iPhone apps and top 50 iPad apps. These are apps that I think you should spend your hard-earned money on. I think that actually works. Whoops, what was that? So it can be hard to keep up with all the new. So you've come up with this. I personally use these apps every day, and they are some of the most highly regarded apps on both the Apple App Store. Let's just stick with the Apple App Store because we are writing about iPhone. Then this disclaimer, and it can be hard to keep up with all the new apps that are being released. Some of them are great, but some are not. That's why I have put together this list, and that puts you into the article, right? So the questions are the best apps for your iPhone. That's the title we have here. What types of things can you do with a fine iPhone app? The question the person is asking that pulls them into the reader. You got the empathetic introduction, which makes the reader feel you understand their predicament, and then that pulls you into the bridge, which then pulls you into the body of the article. So now, the body of the article, you could do it in any way you like. Okay, so when I'm doing articles, I like to think in terms of a few different types of articles. So there's the how-to articles, there's the list post articles, and really most blogs just stay with those two. Occasionally you see the contrarian, I believe that's what it's called, contrarian blog post, which is really the whole blog post is really helping a person understand why something is important, right? You know how we've just used the why for just introduction. Just imagine the whole blog post be about why. Just convince the person big time, right? But I will usually stay with the how to and the list posts. So if you're doing an how to, like in the first one is how to relax and reduce your muscle body tension. The kind of things that you will need for the body of the blog post could be, and it's good to think in threes. So perhaps just do three pain points and 3 solutions to the pain points. So we could go pain points. I'm not going to go through all the 3. We could do pain points for and then to make it more intriguing, we can have the pain point. We could have a misconception or a myth or a wrong advice or wrong idea that is usually common around that pain point. So myth or misconception around pain. And then we do a better way of thinking about the pain point or solution to the pain point.
solution. Now, what's interesting about this, better ways of thinking about the pain or a solution to the pain, is that it's quite similar to what you find in a list post, really. So a better way of thinking about could be giving me three better ways of thinking about it, or three steps to solving the problem, or four steps to solving the problem. It's still a sort of a list post on its own, but it is kind of wrapped around a different format where we're thinking pain point, misconception, solution. So pain points, misconception, solution is a list post of the solution, if that makes sense, right? So pain point. So we're going to pain point, and again the pain point. You would choose a pain point that resonates with you, and you're going to have to be the one who judges what's resonating for you. Something that resonates with you, because I tend to know the kind of things that my clients would ask. If I see something that's quite common to what my clients would ask, it resonates with me, obviously. So the same thing for you. You've got to choose something that resonates with you from what closest copy gives you. So pain points, and let's go to the pain points of topic. Right. What pain points drive people? We'll go back to that pain point. Reduce muscle tension. And then this will give me, three pain points, and I'll choose three strong ones, and then that's what I'll base the body of the article in with. Okay. The fear of having no control over their lives could be one major pain point. Okay. So pain point is a fear of having no control over their lives. Because of physical pain. That could be pain point. So misconception. What misconception is around this control over their lives? What misconceptions do people have? Because the idea here is, if I'm fearing that I have no control over my life because my pain is holding me back, is limiting me, what misconceptions do I have around control, being able to control my life and the pain? And this is where it gets a bit deeper. So, but I'm hoping my train of thought makes sense. So we'll go into common misconceptions. Let's see what that gives us. Having no control. In my life because of pain. The only thing that has control over our lives is our own thinking. Okay, so these are points, misconceptions. If we can change our thinking, this actually giving you like a list of answers. Okay. Even in the worst situation, we always have some control. So in a way, if the pain point the person is having is they have no control over their life, what is already suggested that that's perhaps a misconception in its own right, that I have no control over my life because of my pain. So this is already giving us like a list of solutions. I can choose some of that list of solutions and then flesh that out. So I just want to say, it says, okay, the only thing that has control over our lives is our thinking. If we can change our thinking, we can change almost everything. It's not quite true. That's a misconception. But okay, we just kind of flow with it. It's not the situation that has control over us. It's our thinking about the situation. That's quite true. Even in the worst situations, we have some control. We do some. Most of the times we do, but it just feels like we don't. We often think we have no control because we act when we actually do have it. We have to be willing to take risk if we want to have control over our lives. We must take risks to move forward in our lives in order to achieve our goals. So now some of these may not necessarily work because it feels rather harsh to the client. We often think we have no control because I didn't like that one. Yeah, that could work for me. It's a situation that has control over us. Our thinking. Yep, we can change our thinking. If we can change our thinking, we can always change everything. That's good. So this one will work. So whilst I was looking for misconception or myth, this sort of giving me like some ideas for a solution, which is good. Right. So lack of control is a cop out. It gives us an easy way out. This is a huge misconception that people who do this have. A massive misconception that people who do this have. So okay, so lack of control is a cop out. Okay, this is a massive misconception. This gives us an easy way out. And why is it a massive misconception? Because in my experience, most people who struggle with physical pain issues because of muscle tension or body pain related issues, they're often thinking that when I think I don't have control, I'm just not pushing myself hard enough. I need to push myself harder. But the problem often happens is that when they push themselves hard, they make themselves worse. So that can often be a misconception that's causing the problems to be harder. So we are trying to give them some ideas towards helping to reduce muscle tension. Okay. Now, I'm not really checking whether this kind of works with where the headline is going, how to relax and reduce muscle tension. Yeah, that still works with all of that. Okay. So all we then do is we've taken that this works for the solution, some of the solution anyway. I won't be able to go through all of this, otherwise it won't help. I just want to show you the how I go through some of the ideas. Like for example, in the misconception, right? I'll find like that heading, and then I have to flesh this out to get that. So we'll show you how to do that now. But before doing that, I think I would just we got the pain points. Pain points, the fear of no control. Let's put this all in red. So pain point, there's a fear of no control. Misconception is lack of control is a cop out. A better way of thinking about this pain point is that I'm not too sure whether this matches with that. This particular solution matches with that, because with this kind of solution, this kind of misconception, which is lack of control is a cop out, I will actually be wanting to encourage the client Actually, I think it could work actually. Because there is a degree of lack of control. There's some things they can't control, but there's some things they can control. And what would be good would be to help the clients be able to see that, okay, these are things I can't control, but these are things I can control, which means my situation is not completely hopeless, and that helps the person feel a bit hopeful, which alleviates some of the stress related pressure, which then can alleviate some of the actual muscular pressure. Right? Can you see where the thinking process is coming? And what's ironic about this is that I wasn't even thinking around this at all before we started today. Closest Copy has actually helped me to think through my process, giving me ideas, giving me suggestions, helping me to almost as if I have someone sitting next to me who has knowledge of what I do, giving me ideas of things to write and helping me to just pull things through to a complete article. Okay, so just want to kind of show you one more thing with this before moving on. So let's say this is now the pain point that we want to talk about. What we then do is to take the pain point and we flesh it out. We take the content expander, go back, content expander, I think that's part 20. The fear of having no control over our lives because of physical pain. Let's see what that says. And obviously what you also have to think about is at each of these sections, where the pain point, the myth, and the better way of solution, they're almost like a mini article of it on itself. So you have a mini introduction, the point you're trying to make, a mini lead into the next point. So people with chronic pain often feel they have no control over their lives because the physical suffering they endure. This leads to depression, hopelessness. Yep. Again, that connects. Now, obviously, when I'm writing this, I won't be writing people with chronic pain. I'll be saying that, okay, do you feel you've been feeling like you have no control over your life because of the physical suffering you're enduring. So that's feeling you have no control over your lives because of the physical suffering you've endured. And naturally you have become depressed, hopeless, and hopeless because you feel totally powerless to change your situation. Okay. So already, as we're kind of talking about this pain points, we're still coming from an empathetic perspective, but we're kind of talking about this fear of having no control over their lives because of the pain. Right. So this pain point then leads into a misconception. What I'd like to do is to take that and go into the misconception summarizer. Misconception summarizer 16a takes a keyword or phrase and suggests something that can go into a misconception thing. So the misconception area. So we'll go on the pain point. There's a big misconception that lack of control is a cop-out. It's not lack of control. It's actually one of the most. It's not lack of control. Is one of the most energizing feeling you can. Nah. That's telling me rubbish. It's what makes okay. Lack of control is often a mark of true courage. You've got no control over your mind. Okay. Let's look for. The myth is lack of control is a cop out. It gives you an easy way out. Lack of control. I've got to push myself. Actually, what this is saying is I've got to push myself harder, even if my pain is limiting me. I have got to push myself harder, even if physical pain is limiting me. So let's see what that brings up with. Socrates is a cop out. If you are down and out and getting knocked down, no, that's not quite working. Let's just use the expander. That's not quite working. Content expander. Let's place that in. Lack of control is a cop out. It gives us an easy way out. Okay. So lack of control is a compromise. It gives us an easy way out when we really want to change something but can't make the necessary commitment. Lack of control is a sign that you're not doing the work necessary to change. It's a cop-out. If you truly want to change, you must take total control of your life. And the first step is to acknowledge lack of control is a real problem for you. Now, what I want to do here is to kind of show them that actually it's not that lack of control is a cop-out, but quite often the person is thinking that lack of control is a cop-out, but I still want to show to them that the lack of control is there, but there's something we can do about the lack of control. Not necessarily that they need to punish themselves for thinking like they're weak because they're thinking they don't have control, but we need to kind of help them change the way they're thinking about this issue of lack of control. That's what I'm thinking would want to do. So if we just use that, I could say you may be thinking that lack of control is a sign that you're not doing the necessary work to manage your pain properly, and that it's a cop-out. Because if you truly want to change, you must take control of your life. Only you can do that. It's a common train of thought that people have when they're dealing with it. So as you can see, what we're doing here is we're dealing with just point one, pain point number one. So as I said to you, if I'm doing a how-to article, I will have pain point number 1, pain point number 1, pain point number 2, pain point number 3, pain point number 3, and in each one I will have problem, myth, solution, problem, myth, solution. So we'll go about getting the content like we have done and fleshing it out just like I have done here. So I'll say something like, but this is not true. Then I'll come with something like, you may not realize that your thoughts can deceive you into thinking that you may not realize that your thoughts can deceive you into thinking that the lack of control is a problem, and that you're weak for having lack of control. And then all I just do is flesh out the points here. The only thing that has control over our lives is our thinking. If we can change our thinking, we can change almost everything. It's not the situation that has control over us. It's our thinking about the situation that has control over us. Even at the worst situations, we can still have some control. So I fleshed that all out, and it feels like a hugely supportive article, helping the person realize that they still have hope. And then perhaps maybe the next point would then lead to, okay, how do I change my thinking to help me with my pain, my physical pain? And the irony is, people would think that muscle tension only needs to be dealt with by stretches. But also we have to kind of pay attention to the fact that in the introduction, we started with a big question. Are there stretches that you should avoid? So somehow in the content, we have to kind of answer the question. But what I'm hoping this is doing is showing you the process that I will follow as I make sure that the article makes sense, reads well, and is complete. Now, just to kind of talk briefly how that will work for the iPhone app. So the iPhone app, you are looking for something magical. So we want to go for the iPhone app. For the iPhone app, maybe what we will want to do is list, because as it said here in the bridge, 50 iPhone apps. And let's just stay with iPhone apps. Right. Okay. And then we find 50 iPhone apps that we're always using already. Okay, but let's see even if Shortly can find me 50 iPhone apps. Okay, let's go. So to get, let's say Shortly, that's what I used to use before. Closest copy can find me 50 iPhone apps. So to get to the iPhone apps, you go back to the Shortly frameworks and go to the list posts. So maybe the tools list post will be what I need. Let's see. Yeah. So example, please give me 50 50 iPhone apps that can help me save time. Obviously, it's not going to give you 50 straight off because I'm limited it to about 6 to start off with. 6. So you could actually do 6 until you get 50 if you wanted. But I'm not sure if this will work. But again, because this is not my niche, I haven't really trained it for this. So this may show me up, but let's see. No. What is given is concentrate. Let me just put 50 iPhone apps because it's confused with. Please give me 50 iPhone apps. It's confused with the time. 50 iPhone apps I should put. Oh, right. Calendar, diary, flashlight, Foursquare, journal. Oh, right. Oh, it's giving 16. Timer. So what you could then do, we've got all of these now. I say you got 50. And you got a specific name for each one. You could go ahead and flesh that out. Calendar, iPhone app. Again, I'm not sure if this will work, but let's see what happens. Content expander, calendar, iPhone app. It may not work. And to be honest, I've never really done a review for something like this before, so I don't really know what the process you follow. So just thinking of something you could follow would be: you struggle to make end meet, you have no energy for time. You can keep up with relentless demands of your hectic schedule. So you say app 1, calendar apps, and you then put this blurb, and then you list the best app that you've come across. I don't know what the best app is, but somebody in that niche would know what that best app is. And I don't think it's fair to get the AI to know what the best app is, because this is something that keeps changing, and the AI may not have been trained on the newer information that's come up, right? So what you just do is calendar iPhone apps. You talk a little bit about why you need a calendar iPhone app, and then you name the best one, and then perhaps you describe why it's the best one for you, and then you've got your point. Then you move on to the next one, and that's how you just kind of trash out 50 iPhone apps. Right. So with that, we've got the content for iPhone apps, and also knowing that you could also use the misconceptions, you could use the pain points, you could use all of that to draft the blurb in between the explanation in between each subtitle or each app. Okay. So once you've done all of that, then all you just now do is to come to the conclusion. So in the conclusion, one of the easiest way to do the conclusion would be to just go to the conclusion, inspirational conclusion, and all it takes is the headline. Just the headline. How to relax and reduce muscle tension. And it should bang you out some nice conclusions, which you could just stick there, or you could change it up a little bit. Sometimes what I like to do with conclusion is start the conclusion, put in some kind of analogy, and then finish off with some inspirational phrases. So here's a conclusion that we have right here for muscle tension. So muscle tension can cause all kinds of pain and illnesses, and it's often the first sign of an oncoming stress attack. Learning to loosen your body up and your mind will prevent many health problems from occurring in the first place. Plus, it just feels good. Once you learn these simple relaxation techniques, you will be able to use them over and over whenever you need to calm down. Okay, that's something we could use, but I tend to find out that may not necessarily be spicy enough. So to make it spicy enough, I would go into something like another misconception one, the misconception summarizer. Where are we? Yep, this one. And I'll put in the topic, which is reduce muscle tension, or muscle tension. Let's see what it says about muscle tension. It's a big misconception that muscle tension is always a bad thing. And that could be like a surprising conclusion. That muscle tension is a sign of tightness or rigidity in your being. The truth is that some muscle tension is helpful. Interesting. Like when you are tense because you are scared, or that's quite powerful. So I can put that there to start off the conclusion. So it may be that as we have, maybe in the body of the article, we've talked a little bit about the importance of seeing muscle tension as a good thing. And so we feed that into this conclusion. So perhaps in the body of the article, we've also talked about relaxation and stretches, and make sure that we talked about that idea of what stretches are not good for you, if that's what we started with. Okay, so this is how we're going to come to the conclusion. We start off with this is a big misconception, and feed that into that, and then you've got a nice professionally written conclusion to the article. And then we can do the same. Let me just see our time. Wow, this has turned out to be a very long set of videos, but I'm hoping that you're finding this useful. You can see the train of thought, you can see the process, and you can see how you can quickly go about just banging out articles, right? So the conclusion, we can do the same thing. The conclusion for the iPhone. So either going to inspirational conclusion. It's part 17. The best apps for your iPhone. And we could do this. The best app for your iPhone. So our lives are filled with so much technology. We need to know what tools are available for us if we want to live the most rewarding lives possible. And the truth is that there are more apps for your iPhone than ever before. There are more apps for Android phone than ever before. There are more apps for your computer than ever before. There are more websites than ever before. There are more tools available to us than ever before. Really, what we're just trying to do here is overwhelm the reader with the fact that there's just more of everything. So it's important that you follow this article suggestion. So here we have another part of the conclusion which we can actually add to make the conclusion final. After you said all those ever befores, I've tried to include a wide variety of categories in this article. Everything from productivity, health, games, news, reference, and more. However, these are my top picks in each these are my top picks in each category. I hope they help you as much as they've helped me. Whoa! And we've got the end of the article. Okay, so I'm hoping you see the process, and if there's any bits that I didn't explain well, and there's any questions you have, just pop it into the comments below. And if there's anything else you would like me to do a quick video on, maybe a long video on, around how to use closest copy to do and use the framework so you can actually write your articles and blog posts. This can be useful for Facebook ads, Facebook articles, can be used full. And like I was having a conversation with people in the Facebook group that you could actually, yes, take a dump of user reviews of Amazon and place it into closest copy and let closest copy just copy out the points, the pain points, the wants, dislikes, and likes and benefits that people are saying in the reviews. I think somebody has actually done that app already, that framework already. If I believe I came across something that's similar to that, or was it a work in progress? But anyway, this is how you use closest copy to write an article in any niche at lightning speed. I hope you found the tutorial useful. Okay, bye.